Good morning, folks. Regardless of who wins the big election, that's our future. Anyway, today is another day, and so there's sciencing to do. If we haven't earned that like button click yet, let's wrap that up starting at spaceweathernews.com and see if you can see the tiny CME that is partially aimed at Earth. Might be hard with the coronal hole center disk in the largest active region not being the culprit. It was actually just to the north of it. An active region is trying to grow here and pumped out a little shockwave which will ride the trailing edge of this coronal hole. That is the only reason it might spark geomagnetic unrest. And while the eruption was small and faint, the sunspot down south is merely silent. It's a titanic sunspot group with a trailing umbra looking very gnarly and twisted. Magnetism shows some solid interaction potential, so even this early in the solar cycle, we shouldn't completely count this one out for flaring. Folks, the Sloan Digital Sky Survey's 5th generation has begun. These are some of the backbone surveys revealing that the early universe is basically laughing at our models of cosmology. More on that momentarily, but first, the FRB game just got more interesting. Not only are they finding more patterns in the radio bursts, but they are finding plasma lens emission of the bursts with exotic possibilities. Adrian's going to be all over this one. The 2003 solar storm, thought to briefly spike temperatures on Earth a fraction of a degree according to the 2013 Harvard analysis, has now been analyzed from an atmospheric ionization standpoint. In order to correct the wild CO2 bias, cloud uncertainty, and error propagation they are discovering in climate models, they need to nail down the electrodynamic forcing. Baby step here. Up next, a giant leap. Stephen Crothers, Dr. Pierre-Marie Robitaille. Looks like someone might be listening. This is, of course, the famous dueling black hole animation, could be thought of as merging items or the neutron star version in their models. But it turns out that LIGO may have debunked dark matter, and it turns out that if what LIGO and Virgo discovered are primordial in origin, we need to just take WIMPs off the table entirely. This is, of course, something we've said since 2012, and given my lack of enthusiasm for LIGO thus far, I'm darn happy to see the investment move in a truly useful direction. Last but not least, a throwback to the opening. They're looking at how some stars' recurrent nova require dense accretion and others can provide the celestial fireworks with much less density if there is a big binary. Basically, the interaction plus the slight density change is enough. This is like the cousin of the accretion plus plasma instability 1-2 punch trigger the galactic magnetic reversal delivers to the Sun. We greatly appreciate your support. We've got your wind maps and shots of our star to close, and of course we'll do this all again tomorrow. Right here, but right now it's 4:30 a.m. in the new Valley of the Sun. Eyes open. No fear. Be safe, everyone.